Namaskar and welcome to this exciting Sattology session with a person who has brought up an American soldier who's fighting for North America, USA, and also a family deeply rooted from the academics to politics, and all being powered by a deep sense of dharmic identity. And I introduce you not as a campaign to support her, not as a political campaign, but I personally vouch for her in her capacity to bring justice to all Americans because she is a practicing Hindu, she is a practicing dharmic leader, and she stands for American values. It's a unique concept which I wrote in the book, in my upcoming book, which is Dharmic Americanism, where this is going to be a new ideology of the center forward in America. I call it center forward because the word progressive is hijacked by the liberals. So without delay, I would like to introduce you Sri Manga Dumullah from Virginia 11. Namaskar, Mangaji.
Namaskar, Aditya. Again, good to be here again with you. I'm looking forward to our conversation. And thank you, viewers, for having me. And please do support Sattology. This is all about how we cleanse ourselves spiritually and mentally, make ourselves better citizens to serve this country.
Manga, it's a Manga. I will call her Manga or short form. That's what she wants to be called. So, Manga, what is you have such a successful family, your husband, your kids, and all of them. So you have been a super mom in many ways. So, how did you achieve that success? Because it's a great achievement when the kids become so successful.
Well, for me, I mean, I know you're calling me super mom, but I think every mom is a super mom because she juggles between her home chores, her work, her priorities with children, their activities, and everything. Yeah, along those lines, the only difference I would like to just bring over here for viewers, what is that's so important that we need to start being very self-awareness while raising the families, while helping the families by being part of the family and complete career women is we somewhere along the line give up on our value system. We are not focusing enough on the values. It is the values that make or break the families. It's the values that make or break a person's character. And character is what that builds and make a person successful. So what is it that we want to teach our children is in the hands of the parents. And I always say this, parents are great. Men can be equally better parents. But there is one little edge that women have over men. That's why they can be even more successful as mothers with our sixth sense. We have such sharp sixth sense. We perceive things from a different perspective. Our sharp sense, our observations, the way we perceive and codify that into our thought process while raising our children. These are the qualities I think something you can never say a man has. That's a given that a woman develops this special um, affiliation or a bond with the child because she has carried that baby in her womb for 9 months. That itself sets her apart. So it becomes more of a woman's perspective and the way she perceives the culture and teaches her children. That's what sets them apart. Our education system has completely failed to give that aspect of education to our children. When I was growing up, there was a lot of education that was value based also, besides the sciences and the other social sciences that I was learning. But neither now, it's become part of the family cultures because they are too busy, or they think it's anyway the schools are going to teach. But no, and the schools are not doing their job by teaching certain values to our children. They don't have the exposure that you and I were exposed to growing up academically. So I've always made it a point raising my son. Um, the values are the most important thing. Then comes his sciences. Then comes the curriculum. Then comes his experiences in the world. When they have a very strong background of values, everything else falls in place. Everything else comes automatically. Everything else comes as one a wholesome experience for children when they go out. I never controlled my son growing up. I gave him the values, gave him that freedom, and just guided him once in a while to nudge him in the direction that he needs to go, what is right and what is wrong, because that's the role of a mother to guide the children. And that's all I did. I think we need to start bringing that back into our families. And in a way, I am happy this COVID has happened. Uh, there's so much family bonding now. There's so much family get togethers now. They're realizing spending time with the family is the best thing. This is what I keep hearing from all of my 100% of my colleagues at work. This is the best thing that happened, even though we are very, very deeply sorry for people who lost their loved ones, the victims, and all the hardship that's bringing. But the positive side is we are becoming a family as a whole.
No, I'm glad that you put that point because the families are the basis for a child's growth. And normally it is said that it's a village is needed to grow a child. And it's not just one mother and one family. The concept of nuclear families has been a disaster because the children are devoid of their the multi-pronged growth, the multifaceted growth that they can have. Now, recently I joined your group called Manga for Women, and I'm definitely not a woman, but I joined because you invited me. So, one thing I must tell you is that, or request you, when you say Manga for Women, and so what values or the learning that you want to share with women that can help in bringing up an American which we all of us can be proud of.
Well, I'm usually called by all my friends and colleagues who know me very well that they call me I am gender blind. They say that I am color blind. Probably that is very true when I leave home and have to deal with society and deal with my profession and everything. All that is fine. But the moment you are home, all your attention is around your family. She's the entire body is important for a human to function, but the spine is the one that makes us stand or not stand up. That is the position of a woman when you see this entire body of family, society, and everything. They are the pillars of any society. We need to understand their emotional requirements, their intellectual contributions, and their sacrifices. They do sacrifices, but never expect anything back from that sacrifice. They carry their child for 9 months in their womb, give them birth, raise them, not with an expectation. They totally enjoy doing that. It's not that when after a child is born, the father doesn't bond with the children, but then the bond a mother has is completely different than a father. It's the woman that brings a new life into the world. It's the she that endures. It is the she who bears. It is that she who develops a bond within the family. Without a mother, the bond doesn't gel. So she is the binding bond in the families. So definitely, I see women as the source of life, the source of bonding in any society. Why only the human race? That's exactly how it is in the in the animals too. It is the female that keeps the groups together. It is the female that keeps the families and the bonding together. So definitely women are the source of life. So all respect to women, all respect to those mothers who bring new life into this world.
No, you made an excellent point, because the mother is often the first teacher of
Yeah.
a child, and as such the motherhood has to be glorified, and in many ways which society must do that, because without that is like a loan of gratitude to the mother, and you put it so well. Now, another point from the point of view of you as a person is that you always have believed in dharma as a platform for truth and justice, and which means that, like you mentioned in your previous words, that you said you're colorblind, which just means that not by eyes, but you don't have the skin disease of viewing others by their skin color. That's exactly what you meant. And then you also mentioned a point on the in the uh, in your presentation there, that you also believe in any type of you don't believe in any racial segregation in many ways, where you believe in one humanity as a whole, and which is also a dharma concept, which is vasudhaiva kutumbakam. So where does these thought processes originate, and how strongly you make your life choices and your career choices based on those values?
Well, these are very simple concepts. Self awareness. Who are we? What am I within? Well, it is the physical body is not, it's just an identity for a person to be identified, whether as a male or a female or anything. But the person is inside of that body, inside of that visual effect that people usually identify with. But the knowledge, the self seeker within, the compassion within, connect with others is what is more important. The color doesn't make any difference. How do blind people operate? They can see colors. They go by the perception of how they have perceived the other person by touching, by talking, by a conversation. What does that have to teach us? We have to be beyond the color. We have to be beyond the gender. We have to be beyond somebody's own faith. I can talk to a Christian or a Jewish for hours and try to find something very common and still keep the conversation going. That's because it's beyond a label called religion. That's a label that we created. But it is the common values that we have to find as a ground we can all agree on. So looking beyond the labels is what I believe in. So Dharma, my Dharma teaches, it has never taught me about color. It has never taught me about gender. But definitely, it has taught me, at least definitely in my language, everything is a feminine gender. Other than a man, everything is a feminine gender. Rivers are feminine gender. Lot of things that we see are named as feminine genders. That tells me anything and above, respecting. Probably this is the reason why they have attached everything feminine genders to teach us respect a woman because she's the source of life. And keeping that one principle, when a mother is carrying a child in the womb, she doesn't care whether it's a boy or a girl that she's going to bring into this world. She just simply enjoys those 9 months, every moment in her womb when the baby moves. So that is being free of gender. That motherhood itself teaches looking beyond a gender. She doesn't know whether it's going to be really a fair and beautiful baby or a weightish baby, depending on the genes that the baby is going to carry. But yet, that is one beautiful example I can give how to look beyond the gender, beyond the skin color, beyond what you believe in, beyond what others can believe in.
Excellent point. And
But
Mangaji, I can always
have
say,
to find bond. So that's what our dharma teaches. And that dharma has no feminine and no gender. That dharma doesn't have any race. That dharma doesn't teach how to differentiate. And that dharma doesn't have a religion. It is just a way of life. How to make yourself better, how to seek knowledge without insulting or hurting other people. It's all about accepting other people. It's all about working as one whole unit, as a wholesome, as a team, for the betterment of the society, for the betterment of the group. That's what the Dharma teaches. If we have missed out on that one simple aspect of it, then there is no leadership, there is no families, there is no value. There's absolutely chaos if you don't believe in that. So we all nurture ego. Once we learn to work as a team, accept all these differences as part of our life and important aspects, then absolutely there are no clashes. The reason why we are in this situation today is because we have forgotten to look beyond. It's always has become about control. No, control is not power. Acceptance is power. The very fact we call other people a name, that tells me if I'm going to call somebody a name, that tells that I am the one who is at fault because I am saying something wrong with that person. So my thinking is itself in itself wrong by perceiving that others are different. It's acceptance. Once you have accepted, I mean, did I not have bad experiences in my career? I did. But you cannot attach one bad experience and then make it a stereotype. Stereotyping is what is happening now. No, experiences, good or bad or good, but don't make one bad experiences a stereotype and then start differentiating between people. Reach out. It's the compassion and love that brings everyone together. That's what Dharma teaches. Even in George Floyd's case, we need to show compassion, not aggression. We need to forget about aggression, compassion. How do we reach out to minorities? How do we reach out to people who need compassion? How to erase that boundary, you and I? We need to start thinking objectively. Protests should happen, but calm and quiet. What did our Dharma say? When something is wrong, even in our Dharma, there were protests. In Mahabharata, what was all about that court scenes? Bringing peace. When you cannot bring peace, then it's a war. We have to make that effort. That peace making attitude is what that brings everybody to table, not separatism. Bring peace to table. Bring compassion to table. That's what I feel. We all need to put effort, even including myself. There's always room to improve. There's always room to learn something new, always something to learn from new people, from new generations. Be open, learn something new. Let somebody not control your thinking. Seek your own knowledge. Do your own research, do your own reading. Every day, make it a habit of meditating. That keeps your mental strength and awareness as sharp as anything else that can provide. It is the mental and physical health that by controlling, others can control your mind and power over you. For example, you eat what you become. You become what you eat, and you become what you think. A healthy body and a healthy mind. How do we achieve that? By yoga, by meditation, by following the principles of Dharma. Why are these not the fundamental important aspects that are not taught in our academics? That's completely missing. We have been educated in schools and colleges with yoga and little meditation to give us that wholesome thinking. Let people not tame us. We are not animals or domesticated animals to tame us. When the body is sick, the mind is sick, that's when people take control of your mind. That is self-awareness and enlightenment. Once you become enlightened, nobody can control your mind. No one takes away that knowledge and enlightenment, because you will start looking at everything with a rational approach. That is what we need to develop. Yoga and meditation is a must for every person to become really self-control and powerful. We are power. We are powerful. We are everything we need to be within us. Nobody contributes. You contribute. Our body has a beautiful system of healing ourselves through yoga and meditation. For a headache, we immediately seek a medicine. We want to take, just simply quickly pop a pill. Instead, do some yoga, do some meditation. There are, even while I'm at work, when sometimes I have a body too. So when I get a pain or ache, I don't shy away that I have people around me. I do my yoga for 5 or 10 minutes and divert my pain. The pain is gone. We need to learn to take control of our body and mind, and medicines do intercept our body's natural healing of mind and body. That's where our academics are failing, and we need to start promoting yoga and meditation and value based education to bring that wholesome experience for people, for students to develop.
Excellent points, Mangaji. The another aspect is you brought the academics in a big focus. And generally, when you talk about dharma and the ancient Vedic history, it is rejected as mythology. And we as a community reject the term mythology itself. We call it Sattology because the true antonym of myth is Sat.
Right.
And so if you add the Western etymological science to Sat and Logos together, it becomes Sattology, which means the science of truth. So the truth is the biggest casualty in the left-controlled academics today. It's the biggest casualty, and we have seen the examples of Incas, Mayans, Aztecs, Native Americans. Their entire identity was wiped out when their history, the ancient spiritual history, sometimes they were more spiritual than the regular European settlers, because European settlers came here to propagate their own ideology, which may be right or wrong, but it was from their perspective. But from the ancient Native Americans' perspective, they had their own spiritual traditions, which is almost like 5 million Native American followers still today in North America. And the irony dies a thousand words when in 1924, the American government gave them American citizenship. In fact, they were the natives here, but they were given the citizenship in 1924. And their entire culture was put under the carpet in the name of mythology. Now the irony dies over there totally. And so they questioned that how come we became mythological when you came on our land and you're giving me a US citizenship certificate. And that's the biggest irony today. Now this was my last question, so please address that do you feel that way, and what can be done in the academic circles to bring the right perspective now?
Well, citizenship, yeah, it's a must. But I don't want to bring the example of Native Americans. Yeah, they should be giving us the citizenship. That's the fact. I mean, that's a beautiful fact. The history has written all over. We know what we did to Native Americans, and we know we are in their land. We are nobody to give them their citizenship other than give them more privileges that they deserve, and deservingly it is their land. Um, this, in today's context, is a very tricky situation. But now that we are here, can we actually give citizenship to everybody? Open land, open borders, open flow of people. No country operates that way. It's true that we have done this, we have taken over this land and everything, but we have long passed the time, hundreds of years past that time, and we are in a different time now. What is best and suitable for this time, more practical, is what we need to do. So if we went back and want to do what has been done to Native Americans, then it's going to be a genocide. Somebody stronger than us have to come and kill all of us and occupy and give us again the citizenship. Do we want that to happen? I think we are now in a more civilized society. We have gone much beyond that. Genocide is something I cannot even fathom. Land is the cause of all destruction, All the wars have been fought because of the land, to acquire land. So, in a way, I would say we need to maintain our borders. We need to maintain our own space and not invade into others, and don't allow others to invade into yours. That's how it works. We need to keep our space. We need to keep the sanity and the purity and the intent of the constitution of the land. We need to respect that space. We cannot have open borders. Then if we can allow open borders, then the coronavirus would have, COVID-19 would have taken over the entire world if if the countries didn't stop international travel. It would have been a much bigger destruction and chaos. So we need to maintain borders. We need to be cognizant of where we are, who we are. Our Dharma doesn't teach to occupy somebody else's land and forget that we are invading other people's space and disrespect. We have to respect the law of the land. What does Ramayana teach us? Loyalty. What does Ramayana teach us? Respecting the law of the land. We need to accept, we need to assimilate within the society that you are myself came seeking. America did not give us invitation to come here. We asked for its permission to be here legally. So let's respect that we chose to be here. Why did we choose to be here? Because we thought this land gives us ample opportunities. Let's not abuse that. Let's follow our dharma and not abuse. Let's follow our dharma and start respecting. Let's follow our dharma and start embracing the differences. Teach people our dharma to accept everyone. Otherwise, why are we in this chaos today with rioting, with looting? That's a selfish way of living. So bring people together. Dharma is the best thing. Start teaching them. I know you're very good at that, and that's your passion. Bhagavad Gita, it has solutions for every problem. Start with little at a time. We will get there. We can do it. We can bring people on the same platform to live together, and not for destructive cause, for a cause to keep the humanity together. Hope I answered your question there.
Well, thank you so much, Mangaji. And indeed, it's always a pleasure to hear you, both in person as well as on the video. Also, for the viewers who are watching it live in the campuses, I must tell you that the emphasis on dharma is not some ideological imposition from the foreign countries, mostly done by the American Hindus, and it is from within USA, and many communities are still practicing it. It's not a new concept, it's an age-old concept. In fact, many of the ancient and many of the people who do not belong to the tradition are also seeing the importance of it. So thank you very much, and I welcome your questions or any comments we have later on, and I'll pass them over to the speaker today, our guest Mangaji, and she'll answer that. We'll invite her again to speak a little bit more. But today's topic that she particularly chose was importance of motherhood and how dharma makes her a personality, a very responsible person, and which achieved true success with her own kids. And her husband is a professor in the university, and her son serves the U.S. Armed Forces. So Mangaji, thank you so much, and always a pleasure to have you. Namaste.
Thank you, Aditya ji. Thanks for having me, and thank you, viewers. We'll see you next time. Thank you.